All right, peeps. Welcome back to Fabula Ultima. My name is Josh, Voices in the Dungeon. This will be my second run of the Press Start module through Need Games Fabula Ultima. It is a one-shot module that is more of a tutorial-based onboarding to show how the game runs at face value. There is many beautiful things about Fabula Ultima that make this game have character beyond other TTRPGs, in my opinion, but this module is exclusively to show how the game mechanically works. In most Fabula Ultima games, you would start with world building with your GM and your players, and then once the world's built, you would build the characters of why they exist in the world and go from that. In this, we have pre-generated characters that are going to be presented to our players who have all been optimistically receptive of the characters that they have been assigned or received. But when it comes down to it, this game is my favorite game, and I have had the privilege of running this once before, and most of these people are new to me, but they are also people that are fantastic content creators in the TikTok realm as I know them from. But so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and start with an introduction of everyone. First and foremost, we'll start with I don't know if ringleader is the right way of doing this, but Krista, who was the one I originally... I don't know if I inquired her or she inquired me. We were just talking on a live and she said she'd like to play. And I said, hey, get some peeps and we'll do this. And the peeps are here. So Krista, if you'll go ahead and give me or give everyone a little bit of insight of who you are and maybe your platforms, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Krista. I make content on TikTok and on YouTube that is D&D related. I ask a lot of questions because I am a brand new DM and I am just new in general to TTRPGs and all things fantasy. And I host a weekly roundtable with DMs and I ask them questions, and it's a lot of fun. And that is on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Well, for the record, Krista will be representing the character Blair Clarimond in the Fabula Ultima Press Start, and we'll go into further details on that. Next, we have the person that will be representing Cassandra, the former captain of the Skyriders of Fabula Ultima's Press Start, Ethan, the Hot Take DM. Ethan, if you please introduce yourself.
Ethan, the Hot Take DM. I'm going to be playing Cassandra. Does Cassandra have a surname also, by the way? I just happened to notice that.
No, that's the very interesting thing. Two do and two don't.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Okay.
And we can go into that. I don't see why not. I would say in the longevity of a game, why not? But at the same time, two don't and two do. So we just go with it.
But I make just like silly videos or like some videos kind of like just contradicting some of the different opinions and stuff that I see on different topics in the like TTRPG space, just to like kind of get like opinions from people and like encourage conversations that I feel like I aren't like had as very often. And then also I like to do like comedic sketches just because I love like laughing. So, and I'm on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch at Hot Take DM. That's it.
All right. All the same.
Yep. Just just Hot Take DM will get you there.
Okay. If you people do not know, if you see on the you don't see the overlay. I have your TikTok name on your description, so they at least can find you on there. I'm assuming if they can find you on there, your TikTok will redirect them to your other platforms as well. So, along with mine. But if you're already on YouTube seeing this, you already know where I'm at. So that doesn't really matter. Next, we have Rule Clyde Fox 4. If you'll introduce yourself, I'm just going to go by Rule, if that's all right, as far as reference.
No, that's absolutely fine. Like I said before, my name in real life is Rule. That's not like a screen name. That's my legal name. Hi, I am Rule Fox. My name is fuck it all up already. My name is Rule Fox. I'm a professional dungeon master. I create content almost explicitly to advertise for my professional games. that I run. But that's not entirely true, because now I'm doing like video game streaming, and I talk about game design a lot. I know a lot of designers and indie game makers, and I try to support them and show off their stuff, which is perfect because Fabula is an awesome indie game, and I'm very excited to play this. Yeah, that's me. I just talk about games.
And I apologize if we didn't bring him. You will be playing Edgar from Fabula Ultima. Okay, well then we're going to go to the last, but certainly not the least. A person that has already played this game with me and has already ran the gauntlet of all the mechanical lectures, but she's reprising her role as Levine Fallbright, and she is ready to break some skulls. Kara, if you would please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. I am Kara. That is actually my name, and I go by KaraFish27. Every place that has handles that I have bothered to create a handle for. So mostly TikTok. I do have a YouTube. I just haven't posted there in a very long time. Maybe I'll get back on that. I don't know. But Instagram, again, I'm there. I may or may not post anytime soon. My general vibe is I love to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and all kinds of other TTRPGs. I try to have a more positive and helpful and encouraging focus, because I think there is room in the space for all the love of all the games, and that is what I'm all about. So, silly videos, rule videos, skits, cosplays. I sing sometimes. It's a hodgepodge of nerdy fun over on my page.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm glad to have you back. So, and actually going on to what Kara just said about bringing positivity and stuff in the game, that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love Fabula Ultima. Not only the game mechanically is about teamwork, synergy. I just did a video on this on TikTok and hit you all today about this, but this game is about heroism, doing great things. That's what your characters are about. So it's really nice at entry level. Everyone's kind of on the same page. You can be edgy if you want to, but at the same time, you're not there to be the villain or undermining others. Back to also with Fabula Ultima, with us playing the Press Start module, this is free. You can get the free PDF before you touch any of Fabula Ultima Need Games publishings to at least get an understanding of how the game represents, which not all games do that. A lot of people are starting to do that, but I love that you can give this game pretty much a good swing at and figure out if you like it or not without having to spend a dime on it. However, in contrast, this person is guilty to admit he spent a heavy dime this week as they just announced the Kickstarter for their Bestiary, which was one of the few things that had a little bit of a shortcoming to Fabula Ultima. Now, for me as a GM, I find it easy to build adversaries through the formula I have, but I do agree that having a nice preset setup for things is nice to have for any type of source. But not only are they providing that on their Kickstarter, it just released, I believe, it was October 1st, I believe, or maybe, no, September 30th. So we have about 19 more days right now. It's not a full 30, but you can go to their Kickstarter, Fabula Ultima Bestiary, and see everything it's all about. There's fantastic pledges. If you've never touched this game and love what you've seen or tried, you can get pretty much any tier you want to get all the paperbacks if you want. If you want to make it even more outlandish like me and try to get the hard cover books that just are coming out with it. Or if you also want to be with me, who apparently has no shame in admitting that he took a high pledge investment on the cover box that has all the collector stuff, along with the fan art, or the art being done by Yoshitaka Amano of Final Fantasy Success. I did that. But that's to showcase my love of this game. I don't do that with really any other forms. So this game's awesome. I hope you guys enjoy it. And at face value, if anything, you come away from this saying, I had fun. So that's what this is all about. So unless you have any more questions, we're going to go and get rolling into this game. So, and don't be nervous. I'm sure you're all veteran players now and GMs, and we all are suckers and put ourselves on the into the ether of being seen. So just know this game is rules light, and it's designed to be very fun, but it can also be built to be as complex as you want. The Core Rulebook has a lot of optional rules that make it really interesting, and there's things I'm afraid to touch at points because you can get things like what are called zero powers, which are the limit breaks in Final Fantasy, and I'm afraid to give that power to my players just yet. So, but that being said, we are going to jump in to our game of Fabula Ultima. Press start, as we will hop into scene 1. As I said, this game is going through a series of scenes. It is called The Skies of Denova. And actually, I am going to preload everyone's screens real quick, so they should just pop on there, because not everyone goes high performance machine. Not calling anyone out. You didn't have to wave your hands. Okay. Our story begins on a small airship sailing above a forest surrounding the city of Denova. Piloting the airship is an old man named Leon, who begrudgingly accepted the transport you near an ancient ruin known as the Crater of Megiddo, a once great city of magic that was devastated by a magical cataclysm in the past. The crater still hides many powerful and terrifying secrets, and troops from the neighboring Empire of Alonia have been spotted in the area. Why are our heroes headed there? Well, that's a question for Blair Claremont. Their father, King Roland, decided not to take action against Alonia, but Blair disobeyed his orders and gathered a group of exceptional individuals to personally investigate the situation. So, as we sit here on the ship, flying peacefully towards the crater of Megiddo, we are going to go through every individual and describe what their character is doing currently on the ship. I'm not always going to spotlight Krista, but the fact that Blair Claremont is the one that is helming this expedition, what is she doing at this moment on the ship?
Blair is kind of nervously walking around the ship, doing rounds, checking on what everyone is doing, seeing if the captain is paying attention. She's just very nervous right now. Not in the sense of like she's afraid of what she's doing, but she's just like making sure that everything's running smoothly. She does not want this to go poorly.
Yeah, in your rounds, when you kind of walk around, Leon, who's helming the ship, he's a little bit of an older, sun-kissed, tan man with receding hair. He's in your existence probably as one of the royal heirs. This is a lesser vessel, and you notice while he's kind of driving the ship at the wheel, you notice he kind of takes a swig of something, and he sees you. He goes, and he goes, "Hello, Your Highness," and kind of tries to like do a bow, but act like everything's in order, but hoping nothing at the ready is actually being called out.
She catches this and she goes, "No need. Don't bow to me. What was that, Leon? What are you doing?"
Sailing the airship? Oh, you mean my confidence? Oh, yeah, this is just something I keep at the side. Kind of keeps me focused, at the ready. Not used to undermining the kingdom and kind of having this whole voyage in secret. So I'm a little nervous. So this is just kind of keeping me a little on edge. I mean, I'll stop if you want, Your Majesty. It's just I'm not used to being in this proximity too often with your royalty. A little nervous.
I understand. No need. I'm just like everyone else.
Well,
Please, I understand. Confidence. However, we need your wits about you, so not too much, sir.
I mean, if you're one of us, Your Majesty, and he pulls his flask out and kind of like offers a swig to you to see if you want some.
She kind of just looks a little bit in disgust, and she's like, "That's okay, thank you."
Sure, no problem. But he just seemed kind of like trying to go back to steering the ship. But as Blair continues to navigate around the ship, we're going to go to Edgar, the the inventor on the ship. What is Edgar doing currently?
So I think Edgar would be either maybe below deck or maybe just like wherever we're keeping our supplies and stuff. And he's just going through and checking all of the gear and any like machinery or stuff that we have, making sure it works. And also looking for any scrap or like pieces that he could swipe to use for later, because he is gonna need some stuff to tinker with.
So, two things on that. I'm gonna just straight up say, yeah, you find a few pieces of scrap. So basically, what actually this is not in the module, but you being a tinkerer, you have the ability to make projects later on and do things that require scraps and stuff like that. I'm going to say you find about 15 Zenit, which is the currency, Zenit, 15 Zenit worth of parts just for your future studies and experimentation. But this is a beautiful part about Fabula Ultima. Since you are checking out the way, the workings, the gears, I'm going to let you describe what is the source of, like, how is it flying? Is it magic? Is it all gears? Is it, how does this work?
So I think that there is probably below deck, there is like an engine, right? But it is not like a oil and coal engine. I feel like there's some sort of like crystalline structure that has like these nodes and like kind of like a Tesla coil type things that are kind of arcing this energy into these crystals that are propelling it throughout the skyship. And I'm really peeking at that hardcore because I'd like to figure out exactly how this is working. Don't quite have it yet, but I'm looking at it.
Love it. As we go back to the deck of the ship, we have the darkish figure, Levine, standing at the deck. What is Levine doing on the ship right now?
Levine is kind of patrolling around the edges, looking out, making sure there's no trouble inbound from any direction. Got to keep everyone safe.
Absolutely. Then we lead over to Cassandra, the former captain of the Skyriders. What is Cassandra doing at this moment, as they're on a probably a less provisioned ship than she's probably used to, but at the set there is a power to it. But what is she doing as far as the voyage is taking place?
So Cassandra is actually kind of leaning slightly up against like the edge of the ship. Her eyes like peering across the sky, definitely like taking aim of any threats. But as she like looks about, staying very alert and like at attention, that she overhears Blair and Leon talking just a little bit and kind of just shakes her head a little disappointedly. And you can see there's almost a bit of a concern on her face as she kind of spins her spear, leaning on it just slightly, almost like some sort of nervous tick a little bit as she spins it just in her hand. And she's just kind of peering about at the sky, just taking in everything and not really enjoying as much of being on like this, maybe a little more shoddy ship, but, like ready to protect if needed.
Sure. And I would say at the most, the ship is stable. It's just it's not well provisioned with weaponry and defenses and stuff like that to the level that you probably had some sort of affiliation with. But as the ship continues to move forward, the tops of the trees part abruptly, and you can start to see the crater below. An oddly circular pit descending into the ground filled with remains of ancient stone buildings and once glorious waterways that crumbled down to the depths. Just as Leon starts to prepare a descent, you start to hear a rumbling noise from the depths of the crater. Suddenly, a great beam of purple light blasts from the crater and impacts the ship. Let's change this music up here real quick. It hits the left side of the airship, and in a moment, magical energy has faded, but the vessel definitely did take a hit. Son of a catrol, you hear Leon say. I swear this is the last time I drive a bunch of adventurers around. We'll be lucky to get down there in one piece. You understand that the airship is too damaged to prevent a crash, but you may still be able to do enough to keep it from being worse. Each of you might still find a way to make it less disastrous. What we're going to do here is be introduced into checks. So, checks are the basic mechanic in Fabula Ultima. We use checks to determine whether characters manage to accomplish their objectives in a scene without suffering dangerous consequences. Now, as I stated, the airship is going towards the ground. I'm going to ask each player what their character does to try to mitigate the dangers of the crash. Now, examples would be, do you attempt to contain the magically overloaded engine? Do you help Leon steer the wheel? Do you rush to protect someone? You feel free to steal those. Fabula Ultima is not shy about letting you just take things at random sources, but at the same time, the creativity is what makes the game fun. But basically, I'm going to have every one of you describe what they're doing, and then we're going to translate that into a check. So we'll start with, I'm going to go with Cassandra, since she was kind of on the edge, twiddling her spear kind of at nerves. So unfortunately, her nerves met the expectation.
So Cassandra, seeing like Leon kind of struggling with the wheel, I'm going to kind of steal that in the way that I'm going. Cassandra will run up, and I take the spear and I spin it, and I want to slam it down in between to like provide a bit of, well, I guess like, is it a like a normal ship's wheel where it has like the spokes and then the whole like the spaces in between?
I'll let you decide. That's for you to decide.
Yeah, I would say it's like that, and so kind of like at an angle, slamming my spear down into the wood on the other side of the ship to stabilize that wheel from like overly spinning and like almost capsizing, and to try and like hold it there. And I'm just like pressing my weight deep into the spear.
Love it. Let's go with Levine. What is Levine doing as the ship is chaotically starting to descend?
Ooh, let's see. I would love for there to be something for her to like grab onto and like pull. Is there like perhaps a sail that's been knocked askew and she could grab a rope and try to pull it back into place? Something like that.
All right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, with the impact of it, you'll see that everything's in disarray right now. You're seeing magical energy pulsing off from from below. You see sails that are just kind of moving are disrupted. So yeah, we'll do that. Looking for sail and realigning it. All right. Would their Royal Highness tell me what they are doing in the moment of chaos, as you see two of the individuals, one looking to try to help halter the wheel, the other one grabbing a sail. Now, I do want to say just real quick, checks are favorable in the statistic value of your characters, but I always encourage go with the flow and not always what you're statistically made to do at all times.
All right. So, Blair's gonna yell, "What in the gods?" And she's gonna kind of grab on to something, and then I think, being like, she's the heir, so like she's not really trained in anything necessarily, just is accepting this thing that has been bestowed upon her, and so she is going to just try to use her aura to like encourage the captain, as I see that here on the character sheet. And so I think for her what that looks like is like kind of like channeling, like looking at the person she wants to encourage and like channeling this type of like energy towards them, and like she starts to hum Love
Love it.
Some people think it's very strange, but she starts humming, so she's like, "Mm."
Love it, love it, love it. Hey, just because people are reacting out of chaos, just with a knee-jerk reaction, doesn't mean there isn't value in trying to stabilize people's panic. To now, we go down to Edgar, who is inside the engine room, as probably is taking a base of the hit, as a magical energy is discourse of. What is Edgar doing?
So I imagine there, like, a beam of energy has hit this ship. So I imagine there's like a hole blown in the bottom of it. So I can like see the ground coming toward us a little bit, and I'm like, I'm gonna like panic and grab my tools and like, shit, oh shit, and I'm gonna run, and I'm not gonna try to repair the engine. What I want to do is like, how like there's that myth of when if an elevator starts to fall, you could jump and like survive when it hits the ground. I want to try to overload this engine for a burst right before we hit the ground, so it's like and we hit the ground a little bit more softly.
Love that. That's fantastic. Okay. For my personal notes, I'm just gonna call it overload elevator, so that reminds my brain what you were describing. So, as you've all described this, we are going to perform checks here in just a moment. And as I was stating, checks are based off your attributes. If you look on your character sheet, you have 4 attributes: dexterity, insight, might, and willpower. Dexterity is speed and coordination, insight is intuition and observation, might is strength and toughness, and willpower is charisma and determination. Now, on the character sheet, as explained earlier, you notice that there is dice numbers. Those are the representation of your character's checks. So, in the sense of let's say, I'm just going to use an example using Leon. If Leon was just trying to hold on to the wheel in his own approach, I might just say that's going to require might and might, because you always roll a pair of your attributes. They can be, this is what I think in comparison to other games, instead of having preset skill checks of, stealth, whatever, telling me this and getting to kind of flare it the way it grows. I really like that in the rules light, and that's the best thing about the present it. So I would say, Leon go might, and he would roll his mights. Now, once you roll, you're trying to hit a difficulty level. An easy level is 7. A average is 10. 13's pretty hard. So, and in this, it's going to be a level 10 for everyone's rolls to achieve. So, in that, also determine the outcome. Meets it, beats it. So whatever the deal is, if you roll a 10, you're successful. So we'll start with going back to Cassandra, as you're talking about. She came flinging in and just jarring her spear into kind of keeping the wheel from going a little out of control. I figured that would require dexterity of you. As you said, you're spinning around and kind of finding a pinpoint, and then might to try to hold it at base. So I would like you to go ahead and roll a dex might.
Okay. So that's a D10 and a D8. That's 6.
Okay.
So good first roll.
So so when you throw it in there and you try to, I wouldn't even say with that success you were able to actually get it. It was spinning so crazy you weren't able to get it directly in, but it's enough where it's still, for a moment, you hold a little might to it, and it stops it for a second and makes the sails it jerks, and the sail, it breaks a little more as it starts to. You pull your spear back. But you just hear Leon go, "Oh, God!" And he's trying to hold it onto himself, and it's pulling him with it at the moment. We will go over to now Levine. As I said, you were looking for that sail to achieve trying to grab and hold. It's broken just a little bit more, but there's still hope that you can help try to realign and maybe guide it a little further. I was going to say for that, you were looking for it and then looking for a opportunity to do it, and then use your might. So it will be insight might.
Okie dokie. Insight might rolling.
Oof. Ooh, guys.
Guys.
The ship's going down.
We're dying in Act 1.
Nope,
Love it.
not so much.
But as you're able to actually, I'll let you describe the failure on that. It's like you're seeing a rope or something, trying to like in doing so, where your shortcoming is.
I'm gonna say, let me look at what actually rolled, because I like to let that inform me a little bit there.
Absolutely.
And that was okay. So yeah, neither one of those was particularly great, but I would say the bigger failing is in the might die. So I'm gonna say she grabs on and she tries, but it is just pulling too hard, and it just slides right through her hands with that like rope burn kind of feeling. Ah!
And everything, the chaos of the wheel not being jarred and causing to disrupt and her not catching it, you start to see you hear kind of a rumble for down below, Edgar, and you see a little bit of chaos in your two constituents, Blair, as the ship starts to go and starts descending at a lot further rate. I'm gonna see if I can change that real quick here on this. Can I make that? We're gonna make it just a little quicker. So now you're moving at a higher pace of speed here. So, anyone before I don't have to assign. Does anyone want to step up? The two left here, what they're actually, you've already said what you're doing. So we'll go ahead and go with Blair. You see the chaos that's been taken, and there's definitely panic and reaction that may not be working in the favor of your crew as you start to hum and try to find some sort of mending in the chaos and the panic to try to help people get their footing back abroad on the ship. So I'm going to let you do willpower, because you are using your presence at a level of royalty and just existence. Oh my gosh.
Close.
You come so close to feel it. You feel like there's a moment like, okay, I can solve this. And as your presence starts to kind of, you actually see Leon kind of getting a moment like he's looking and hearing the music you're putting on. And then just all at once, the wheel kind of breaks a little more and he's like, and he takes off with it. The sail starts to come down. And you see Cassandra's trying to just regain some sort of balance from not getting it into it being ejected. So we go back to the engine room where everything is seeming to be not in the best situation. Edgar, you're trying. You're sitting there looking. You're looking, and you can see that bottom, and you start to hear. Not only do you see, you start hearing of like pine trees and stuff hitting the hull of the ship, and you're getting to the point where you're trying to like, okay, I can figure this out. Figure this out. I need you to roll me an insight, and then I'm going to say Dex as like some sort of reactionary to do something to achieve that.
Beautiful. That is a 11. 10 on the Dex, but a 1 on the insight.
Hey, that's a success. So there is a moment where you're hearing the panic above and just like what's going on, and you start to hear like you hearing the impact of the trees and it's slowing down, and eventually you see opening and you hear the humming of the velocity of the ship, and just at the right moment you're able to find that sweet spot of trying to avoid any type of danger and getting enough of equilibrium in the air, and it impacts and you start hearing. That is the end of scene 1. As the ship crashes and it parts of the pieces that start to explode. To call this a ship is a mockery any further. As you hit the ground level and you see the trench, the top of the ship has stopped right at the edge of the Megiddo crater, almost to impacting further. So I'm so glad this happened. This is the first time I've seen a failure over a success. I didn't want to give you guys foresight on this. You only needed 2 successes to fully succeed in this. Now, in Fabula Ultima, this is where the game gets, I think, fun in the narrative. We're going to go ahead and change to the next scene, which is Traits and Bonds. Change the music back up, go. So, as the ship seems to be beyond disarray, beyond repair and in disarray. So, in this, if you would have been successful, more than likely, Leon would have been able to repair the ship within a day's travel. If this was a continuing game beyond the world, this ship is done. And there is no way of getting back anytime soon. So he's going to do what he can to try to find any type of valuable tools or whatever to try to get something rolling. But a full uplift or escape plan is probably not in the foreseeable future. On top of that, with the impact on your failures, there comes with consequences. The three of you who have had a unfortunate failure on the roll will take on a status effect from the crash landing. Edgar being the one person that was able to avoid it on the impact. So in the consequences, there is multiple status effects that come into Fabula Ultima. The four primary are dazed, shaken, slow, and weak. Those are next to your character sheets. The way that are next to your attributes on your character sheet. The way these work is when you're inflicted with them, each one of them has a negative drop to your die value if it's put on you. So if you are weak, your might will go down for a die. So if, for example, well, I'm not going to give weak to Levine because Levine, it wasn't really weakness. It was more, we'll go with that flip. Let's just say that she read and then hit her arm or did something where it impacted her and she's struggling to be able to maintain some sort of physical prowess that she's used to. So I'm going to give her the weak condition. So now her D10, her primary, is now a D8 for now until it's fixed. And I will fix that on the character sheet real quick. And then with
burn, ouch.
Man, I'm so happy for you guys failing. I've never been so happy to see people fail.
Thanks.
We'll go ahead and give Shaken to Blair, who in the moment of panic really wanted to help, but saw ultimately it did not follow through. And maybe there's a little bit of self-doubt or whatever. The Shaken effect, which I also will apply, is a negative to your willpower die. Cassandra, you're used to being able to do things under panic, but maybe it's the ship or whatever. It just wasn't to your expectation to be able to handle. I'm going to actually affect your insight by giving you a dazed effect. So I'm mark these on here with you guys just real quick.
Shit, ship.
So, as I said, now that you have these afflictions, this affects everything on your rolls. So whenever I give you a thing that might be beneficial to your primary skill, it's not going to be as high for the time being.
Really quick question. If my insight is already a D6...
It does not drop. So, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. And we're not going to really worry about that because when it comes to it, you're not feeling the way you are. While Leon is looking around for tools and stuff, you notice there's a chest that's spilled out. And he's like, man, we got hit hard. Is everyone all right? And he starts pulling out potions and stuff to apply to you. So everyone, I just want to give you a little scare. You're losing your status effects from Leon giving you these potions. But that being said, yes, if you do not drop below a D6. So okay. There is nothing less than that. There are boons that can help boost stuff beyond a D10 to a D12, and at higher levels, you can get a natural increase as well. But gotcha. Never below D6. Now, the nasty thing about this, though, is there are other status effects beyond those four. There's also poisoned and enraged. Enraged lowers dex and insight. So if you already have an insight low, let's say you're a D10 on that, and you have your dazed, it goes down one. You can also be enraged, and have your insight down go down another and your dex.
Oh.
It's brutal. So mitigating those is very important. But nonetheless, he shows up and he gets his flask and he gets some potions and he gives one to Levine and he's like, "Are you all right, miss? I saw you trying to get the sail over there. I appreciate it, but."
She's totally going to play it up like, I'm fine. I do not need any assistance. But you can definitely like see her surreptitiously rubbing at her hands.
So, yes. So you will get a, I think it's a remedy on the items here. No, sorry, it's a tonic. So the tonic will remove one status effect. So, boop, and everyone is being given one. So they go to Cassandra, and he goes, "I think that might have been my fault, Captain. I mean, I was trying to hold it, and then you came spinning this, and I thought you were coming at me, and I kind of let go, and just things went a little bit haywire. So I'm just glad you're okay. You look a little off. Here, hold on." And he also gives you a remedy, which in receipt.
Yeah, she takes it and she's like, "Yeah, that was not my intention. My apologies. I'll be more clear in my instructions next time."
It wasn't my intention to be shot down or crash the ship either. And I want you to understand that, Your Majesty, that was not part of the plan. As he starts to walk over to Blair and takes out a remedy and goes, "I know it's probably not provisioned the way you expect it, but I'm hoping this at least can cure some of your concerns, Your Highness." And hands you this remedy to obtain or consume.
Thank you. What the hell, Leon? What was that?
If you tell me, I'm the pilot. You're the adventurers. You sent me over here. One thing's for sure, it handled my ship pretty damn good. At the very least, and he looks around. He's like, "I'm not going anywhere soon, so I'm gonna definitely be evaluating the ship the best. But I suggest whatever plan you had, you go figure out what that purple light was, so it doesn't do it again." And you see,
we can do that.
while you're taking the remedy, you see him like taking a sip of the flask too, and kind of like he's having a moment to try to calm down
He's
here.
taking his remedy.
But as we come down to Edgar, you see like it's almost like a cavern maw of the whole ship open as it's splintered, and you look over, you just see a ravine of the crater ahead of you. But your constitution, your existence seems to be somehow well intact. You start to hear the commotion in the stairwell. It leads up pretty quickly. You hear it sounds like survivors. But what do you do?
He'll go up, and I think he'll hear the tail end of Leon saying that he is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, and he'll just like step up out of the ship, like, "Yeah, you're probably not going to be going anywhere at all. I kind of blew your engine to stop us from dying in a fiery explosion."
I mean, I appreciate you saying that, kid, but at the same time, I think this was a team effort here on us all kind of getting where we're at. But at the same time, it's no one else's fault. Some magical energy just blasted the hole.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not accepting blame in any way. I'm just saying, I definitely destroyed the mechanical structure fully of your engine, which may have remained intact had I not. But also, I feel that we would have probably, gotten a little worse for wear without the little blow. But anyways, how the rest of y'all feel? I actually feel fine, despite like looking at him. You see his like goggles are all like shifted around the side of his head, and his clothes are all like disheveled and scorched a little bit from the electricity.
Cassandra, she's like leaning down, picking her spear up off the ground. You can see she's kind of like rubbing at her head. And she's like, "I've been worse, I suppose. Is everyone in one piece?"
Yeah.
Mostly, at least.
So, I'm glad you all are okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect that.
See Leo at he's just like he's trying to keep cool, but you just see him down another city. He's like, you hear him like just, oh shit, and he's just sitting there looking over the cliffside. And he goes, well, I mean, I technically got you here, Your Highness. Whatever is going on down below, that sounds like an adventurer problem, not a Leon problem. But I'm not going to be going anywhere here. At the very least, I'm going to try to make sure this is a makeshift encampment for the very short future. But I'm glad to see everyone's all right. The last thing I want to know is my undertaking of the ship came back with not only a failed ship, but a missing royal heir. So that's the luck to you guys, but I'm hoping to see you soon. Now, in this, we are now in the section of traits and bonds. This is where, if you find your character sheet, I think I said on Foundry, it's one of the middle locations. You will see things about it where these are the way attributes represent their affinity towards different approaches to a challenge. Traits are narrative concepts to make your character unique. So think this kind of as a condensed backstory, for better words. We have identity, which represents what your character currently sees them as. Then we have theme, that represents the dominant narrative that forces the drive of what your character's story. And then we have the origin, where they're from. Now, as you were all kind of gathering your existence and making sure everything's okay, we're going to start to learn a little bit about the characters at face value. This is where Fabula Ultima, in my opinion, really starts to thrive, as you are going to take off with some, I'm going to give you some questions, and you are going to start injecting the narrative of this game with your character, with their roles of their traits and origin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask questions for all 4 players about their characters and involvements. You will then come up with some answers. I'll probably give you about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will take that forward and start molding that into the continuation of the story. So we'll start with, and does anyone have any questions? That makes sense as far as, okay. We're going to start with the heir, Blair Claremont. You are heir to the throne of Denova, and you believe it is your duty to protect the people and stop the Elonian Empire from seizing control of the crater of Megiddo. Your father, the king, thinks otherwise and ordered you not to abandon your royal palace. So, the questions I ask, and I will say it's on your character sheet under the biography tab. You will see these same questions in case I ramble too much and it just wasn't acquired. How, and this is for Krista, how did the crater come to be? What disaster turned a prosperous city like Megiddo, home to a greatest magic in the world, into a sunken mass of ruined buildings? What terrible secret do you fear the Elonians might uncover there? Then, is your position as heir an honor or a burden? When your father forbade you from taking action for the Elonia, was he trying to protect you? Then we go to the former Sky Captain, Cassandra. As I said, you are the former captain of the Sky Riders, the elite soldiers of Stormkeep. You came here after hearing rumors of a woman with a white spear among the Elonians. The same spear your mentor, Desdemona, used to wield. The idea she might have sided with Elonia fills you with doubt as your theme. Now, the questions go, Desdemona left Stormkeep after the violent death of her brother Tristan. What was your relationship with the two of them? How did Tristan die? Then, why have you abandoned your position as captain? We then now go to Edgar. You are a young inventor from the village of Pemble, where you survived a terrible accident. You rebuilt your right arm using Magitech science, the same that allows Elonia to create robotic soldiers. Even so, you hope, as your theme, to learn more about Magitech and use it to make the world a better place. Your questions: what happened in Pemble? Why did you leave the village afterward? And due to Elonia's actions, Magitech will forever be associated with war. but at the least they are not sending living people into battle. What are your thoughts on the Empire? And once again, last but not least, Levine Fallbright. You are a princess without a kingdom. Your home, Armorica, was conquered by Alonia. You witnessed the Empire taking everything you had dear, including your loved ones. Your heart is heavy with guilt, and you will do anything in your power to save Denova from a similar fate. Why did Alonia attack Armorica? What powerful weapon or magical artifact did they take from your kingdom? And the final questions. Armorica's dark metal is known as one of the best protections in the world, and your armor was a precious gift by it. Who gifted it to you, and what was your relationship with them? So as I said, I'm going to give you guys about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll check in here with a minute. I'm going to refill on some water, and we'll go from there.
I think I'm also going to run down and grab a little glass of water.